Now, we're hunting right now in the same conditions that you will be experiencing right away, because there's a cold front coming across the nation, and I just like alerting you and letting you know about it. And what we're doing tonight is we're taking the evening set. The difference is boy, with that pre-rut rolling around, my favorite time to hunt is in the morning. That's the first time I hunt mornings for the year, unless I have a buck really on target that I have really patterned that I can go out for and fairly certain of. Then I'm really waiting till the pre-rut on mornings. I'm watching around. Sorry, that we're hunting right now. It's a cold front. We wanted to shoot one video when we came out here and get that done. It always seems like no big deal, but I'm really wary about spooking a deer. We heard a stick break earlier, and I had that last time I sat here, and there's a grouse that walked through. But we've had bow here, 45 in the last week during shooting light, and either one will be on target, especially with this guy in the blind Dylan. So that'd be kind of cool. But bottom line is, you guys, you got to get out for this pre-rut. Perfect time for morning hunting. You can always tell when the pre-rut's around each year if you hear me talking about the morning. And some of you complain you don't see some of my hunt footage. Well, we're out here hunting. We shoot videos like this every year. And so we are trying to include these in the strategy videos like this one today. What are the conditions I'm looking for? Like I talk about all the time, I'm looking for those big winds. Like we're on the back side of these winds. They're going to diminish down to almost nothing overnight. Within a couple hours, they're going to be cut in half by the end of shooting light. So we're doing pretty well as far as getting out and making sure that we, can capitalize on these winds dying down appreciably. They've been up to 40 mile an hour, 45 mile an hour gusts yesterday. Now, yesterday was a nice cold day. We're looking for that big temperature change. The difference is, and I want you to understand this, is we're looking for temperature change. We're looking for changing conditions, and that includes the wind. So part of the wind, I don't care if the wind goes from 45 mile an hour down to 15, from 25 down to 10, from 15 down to 5. But we're looking for that change. And when you have a big temperature drop like we have right now, it was 80 degrees 2 days ago. Today it's a high of 42. Huge difference, almost 40 degrees. Then you have big winds that usher in that change. You can't, if you look in the forecast, you see a big temperature change and they're saying 15 mile an hour winds. Not going to happen. You're going to have 40 mile an hour winds if there's a 20 mile an hour or 20 degree temperature drop. Hunting during those winds, is that a good idea? It is if you can hunt the lee side. For example, Jen's down on the bottom right now and she's sheltered. Dante's behind the ridge system. He's sheltered. So you're on the lee side or you're down in the valley where you're out of the wind. You're on the downwind side of a forest, on the downwind side of a big CRP or switch field, the downwind side of conifer. The bottom line is you're on that downwind side of a lot of cover or a big ridge system. And what that allows you to do is make sure that you can get in that quiet area. What does that do? Deer move when it's windy, but they're moving to get out of the wind. So you can take an unfair amount of deer and stick them in a very small area, kind of like bass fishing. You look at 90% of the fish you find in 10% of the water, 80-20. Whatever way you look, well, when it's windy, you'll find 80-90% of the deer in the quiet area. Quiet areas are usually few and far between. They're on the lee side of the ridges. They're not up in these open flats where they're feeding out in the ag fields and on the food plots. They're down in these quiet areas. We have a really quiet area right down in front of us with mixed red cedar. So we're just waiting for a buck to pop up this evening to us. So if we're hunting in the wind, yesterday would have been a good day to hunt if we were down in the bottom. We saw some good movement. But up on top around here in these food plots, we didn't see a lot of movement. So that means that we're waiting for the winds to subside appreciably. Gusts to 15 today, 20 at the most instead of 45. They're diminishing tonight. Now this temperature is when it really takes a hold because these deer are socked down. We didn't see a lot of movement the last couple days. They're not out in the ag fields feeding because it's windy. When it affects their noise, they don't like being out there. Do you hear another stick break? Probably hearing things, but I hear something. But anyways, they're not out here feeding like normal. So that means they're hungry. They're feed 5 times in a 24-hour period. So they're missing feedings. They're not going out in the woods. They're not going out in the open fields. They're staying back in the woods, back in their bedding areas, back in the thick cover. They're eating browse, brush. They're not filling up on corn, alfalfa, beans, food plot, greens, whatever it might be. They're not getting those quality feedings. They're getting hungry. They're burning energy to stay warm. That creates opportunity. So really look for that temperature change to take place, but also look for those conditions to change. And it's not just the wind. It's thunder, lightning. Sometimes you can have really good rain, drop 20 degrees, but if that rain's pounding down, yes, deer might move, but it's not predictably so. So really, wind, same thing. Thunder, lightning, snow. Make sure conditions have subsided, you get out. You know, at that point, if the barometric pressure is low or high, really doesn't matter. If you've experienced that change, if the temperature's gone down, it's a good time to sit. You know, we might have a storm, another storm coming through, a double storm coming 2 days from now. I know we have another drop. Right now it's Thursday. We have a really big drop on Sunday into Monday. Monday's another golden opportunity to be out in the woods. And so when we look at that, pretty soon that pressure is going to be low again because there's another front coming through, and it'll be high until it completely clears out with both storms. It'll be at its highest at that point. Bottom line, don't miss out. This starts, and I hate people repeat things that I say a lot. Roller coaster is one of them, but this starts the roller coaster of hunting opportunity from now all the way through the season, but especially into the rut. That pre-rut, we're kind of like, as Dylan called it today in our podcast, we're shooting a new podcast today. It's Jeff and Dylan Talk Deer. So we're starting that podcast. We'll look for that wherever you can find podcasts. But bottom line is, we're going to be going forward from this point on. This is the pre-rut. We're starting to see some scraping activity, but the pre-rut is just around the corner. You're going to be experiencing not only that by the time you see this video, but a great cold front coming through. Take advantage of it. Don't miss out. Go to your favorite morning stand. This is where I love to hunt mornings, but I haven't hit these morning stands. You know, this isn't a morning stand. This is an afternoon stand. We're watching a small food plot strip rimmed with some apple trees, thick bedding cover on the back side. But we'll get into our morning stands for the first time. We haven't spooked them. We haven't spoiled them. Heck, we don't even know what they look like because we haven't been to those morning stands for quite a bit of time. We haven't been there for weeks or months in most cases. So when we go into one, it's fresh stand. The bucks that are around there are none the wiser. And a lot of times we're going into those stands. Yeah, we want to see some sign. We'd love to see some trail cam pictures. We'd like to see some fresh scrapes opened up around there. We'd like to see some deer nearby visibly, a certain target buck that we're after. The bottom line is, we'd love to see them on trail cameras, our Exodus renders, our SD, HD videos, the Exodus lift. We'd love to see some type of indication they're there. It doesn't matter. If we know they made it through the season last year, we don't even need to see them in the off seasons. We know they made it through, about 95% sure they made it throughout the spring and summer and early fall. They will be back in those same pre-rut locations, back in those same morning bedding area stands, and it gives us that opportunity. And guess when they're going to be there? They're not going to move around a lot when it's at unseasonably high temperatures, when those fronts are coming through and there's a lot of wind and noise and they're stressed out. They're going to be there where they can have cool mornings to roam around 3 times longer than they normally do in the morning. They might even stay within the same 5-10 acre area, but they're going to be moving a lot. They're going to be making a lot of rubs and scrapes, and it's all created by this weather opportunity that you're experiencing now. Don't miss out. Even if you just sneak in a morning, sit till about 11 or 12 and get out of the woods, it may deliver the buck of a lifetime to make your dreams happen. It's kind of cool too because I'm getting to wear some of my favorite clothes. You know, I start wearing more of the Solitude bibs from First Light. Keeps a little bit warmer. Get to wear my hand warmer tubes, heat pack, wearing some of my hoods, face mask. So we're keeping a little bit warm. Now, I keep hearing stuff. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to shut up. And we're waiting for deer. Hope you guys like this video. Don't miss this cold front. It's a good one. I urge everyone out there to really check out my web classes. They've been wildly successful. We have one that details how you should design your land, another one that details how you should plant and maintain and manage a food plot program. How can you make those decisions that fit your land specifically and not someone else's? Unfortunately, there's so much information in the hunting industry that says you should do this, but it doesn't apply to you. These web classes directly apply to you. And then we have our 3rd web class that came out last year, Rut web class, navigating the entire rut. And then we have our 4th one coming out, which is hunting hills and thermals. I urge you to check those out, try the web classes, and they're all about teaching, helping you understand how you can navigate, not only managing your property, food plots, and the rut, but also hunting strategically, hills, thermals, and wherever you pursue whitetails for your dream and your passion.